everyone. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Zishan Pathan, Group Managing Director and CEO at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with industry stalwarts interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. We have one such corporate giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Dr. Shailesh Haribhakti. He is a chartered and cost accountant, internal auditor, certified financial planner, fraud examiner, board chairman, audit committee chair, and independent director on some of India's most preeminent organizations. He is also an evangelist of ExTech, that is Exponential Technologies, ESG, and IR, that is integrated reporting. I am completely excited and motivated for the conversation today. Welcome, Dr. Haribhakti. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Zishan. It's a pleasure to be in this conversation with you.
Great. So, Dr. Haribhakti, many of the people and the leaders in the country are inspired by your story. So, you have gained numerous achievements in your professional life. Could you mention some of the most remarkable ones and let our viewers know the motivating factor behind them all?
Well, actually, it is kind of less relevant what my achievements have been. More important is how my mind frame has changed and evolved. And I think that would be far more interesting for whoever is listening to this. So the way my mind evolved is to first address the depth of what it is that is driving the core of my domain. And my domain was always accounting, auditing, tax, finance, those domains. And so I went deep into that. And therefore you see that I got involved in integrated reporting way back when it was just beginning to emerge. And because of my total belief that all financial reporting should not just be a reporting of what has happened, that is the past orientation. It should bring it to the present and must also talk about how the future can play out. And therefore it became very important for me to grasp the idea and implement the idea of 6 capitals in any organization. It's not just the financial capital that counts. It is the environmental capital, the reputation capital, the physical capital, the innovation capital. All of these capitals constitute a true organization. And the good news for the world is that the output from integrated reporting has been combined with the domains of various enterprises into what are now called the IFRS S1 and S2 global standards for sustainability reporting. And I used to always say that the future of all financial reporting is going to be integrated reporting and integrated thinking. And that is where the world has now emerged. And to me, that is the most satisfying part. Now, I have seen several asteroid strikes during my very few years in the profession. I first saw how disruptive the internet could be. And everything virtually changed. You know, the whole idea of being able to send data and voice and video and everything to people anywhere in the world just opened up so many possibilities. Then what happened is we got to the world of cloud and 5G and Web 3.0, and collaboration became so intense. I could collaborate with anybody anywhere in the world. And then this year, in 2023, we had artificial intelligence actually take charge of all our thinking. So today, we have a dramatically new world in front of us, a world where we can exponentially change and have a big impact on whatever we decide to do. And the means to do it and the technologies to do it, these are why they are called exponential technologies. They operate in a way that stops making you think linearly. There's no point in having 5, 10, 20% growth. The idea now is, how can we disrupt so that we can create 10x kind of productivity from doing much more out of much less. And that is the big notion that I have now come to. So those are the phases in my professional career and my thinking which have become valuable as instruments for me to now address the world as it has emerged.
Great to know your thoughts and the complete journey. You've touched upon technology. Definitely, we will definitely have a conversation around technology as such in our ensuing conversation. However, while during this journey, you would have definitely come across various challenges. So, what are some challenges you faced during the early phase of your board journey, and what learnings have you taken from them?
That's a fantastic question, Zishan. I think the board journey that I have had the privilege of going through has been absolutely extraordinary. The first large board that I joined was of the GIC Asset Management Company when they shook hands with George Soros many, many years ago. And it was an astonishing way that the board was run. The idea at that time was largely driven by compliance. And then we discovered that it's not just compliance that makes the world go round. That is important, and that's a given. But slowly we started discovering that it's important to make sure that the right people are in the right jobs. And so the idea of the nomination and remuneration committee's role became clearer to me. Then we discovered that it is absolutely critical that we are in a position to make sure that the core of the company is protected, that controls are better. So the risk management and the audit committee roles became critically important. And they sort of got embedded into my thinking. Then we discovered that it's not just accounting, auditing, control, risk management. It's also strategy. It's also what we need to do in the future. And so the entire way that time allocation happened in the various boards that I was participating in went through a dramatic shift from 90% control orientation to less than 10% control orientation, and far more effort being put into strategic management, risk management, thinking about the future, thinking about agility, thinking about resilience, thinking about how to manage whatever turns up for the corporation. And that is the journey that has been absolutely stunningly rewarding for me from an intellectual satisfaction point.
Great to know about the challenges and how you dealt with them. And you definitely have emerged as a great leader in India today. And you have also touched upon sustainability just now. So India is gaining a strong position in the global sustainability landscape. So what opportunities, according to you, await board members, and what are the ways they can make contributions to their respective companies?
Again, it's a very critical question that you have asked, Zishan, because new species of organizations are actually evolving in our world. You had the normal classification, startups, mature companies that are about to be disrupted, public sector companies, private sector owned, family managed. These were all the classifications that we used to use. Now, the classification has changed dramatically. It is companies that have potential which is certain to get released. That's one category of company, no matter when they were formed. Because you can get a new leader into a company, or you can get a stake change, and the entire dynamics of the company can completely transform. So it's all now getting classified differently. Then you have what are called exponential organizations. It's a new species that is coming into our world, where they are all thinking 10x. And a recent research that was done indicated that those organizations which adopted exponential technologies and were really exponential in themselves had a 40x improvement in a 5-year time frame. 40x. So it's a completely new species of organizations that has emerged. And now I'm seeing a sustainability-driven organization as a new species evolving. Because people are discovering that not only is it important and valuable to embed sustainability into your strategic processes and your strategic thinking, but it can lead to great profit and great disruption, self-disruption and disruption of your outside world, so that you can achieve dramatic results. So sustainability is now getting embedded into the strategic thinking, the foresight of these companies. And it is all going to be driven by action. So almost all the lenses that the board members are wearing turn their mind and attention to sustainability. What can we do about our environmental capital? How can we make sure that our human resources are far more productive than they ever were? How can we make sure that our whole workforce feels safe? For example, during COVID, these were the big issues that were completely engaging our mind and attention. And we were totally focused on making sure that our workforces were protected, their families were protected, because a person who does not have a family that is protected would not be able to give his or her best at work. And so we discovered the routes to make sure that all of this could happen. So now we have these 3 kinds of organizations. And now we've got a 4th species that is emerging. There will be a species of companies which is fully embracing artificial intelligence and machine learning. And my prediction is that it's only the last 2 categories that will last over the next 5 to 10 years. Those who do not embrace sustainability and artificial intelligence will perhaps have a very difficult time surviving. And they will either get merged or become divisions or become parts or become a part of the whole milieu. So that's how sustainability is now entered the center stage and the soul and heart of both.
So these are great insights, Dr. Haribhakti. I must acknowledge that. And eventually, I'm also a great lover, and I know that for a fact that machines are true potential. And in coming few years, definitely the exponential category, sustainable category of these enterprises will definitely survive, right? So in terms of corporate governance, do you think that the Indian government needs to rework the existing governance framework to utilize India's potential or further boost its startup culture?
The government has done an immense amount. What has India got today that it simply did not have 5 years ago? India today has the ability to truly be seen as a leader in the world. Our UPI, let me just take that as the example, has been appreciated, admired, and I dare say even felt jealous about by the rest of the world in a big way. Because this whole idea of creating digital public infrastructure, creating the India stack, creating the whole idea that on the digital public infrastructure, you can create digital public goods, which will create vast organizations across the length and breadth of our country and across the length and breadth of the world. See, UPI today can completely disrupt payments across the whole world. Now, that kind of leadership India has been able to demonstrate. We started with the Jam Trinity. We moved then into UPI and the India stack. And today, we have the ability to lead the world in embracing the man-machine interface through artificial intelligence. Because where are the largest number of engineers being produced in the whole world? It's in India. It is astonishing how we are getting back into our own. 250 years ago, the Indian GDP constituted approximately 27% of the world's GDP. Today, it constitutes less than 2%. And so we have begun this journey to get back to where we were, because we have demographically one of the most beautifully positioned populations. We don't have a runaway growth in the number of people that we are going to have. We have a very good distribution of people. We have a fabulous young workforce. That workforce is getting better trained, better motivated, better engaged, and having all this infrastructure which we are talking about, the digital public infrastructure, the India stack. It gives immense potential and amazing ability. So today you will find that unicorns will be created far faster than they ever were in the past. India itself will create its next $1 trillion of GDP in 1.5 years. Something that our first $1 trillion took us 50 years, which we now have the capability of doing within 1.5 years. That is the new India that has emerged. And it has emerged because we were able to lay down the tracks of technology, of exponential technology, of all of this convergence, of this whole stack that we have created. We've connected people, we've connected through roads, through ports, through railway, through infrastructure investment. All of this has happened in the last 20 years. And this is what gives, or should give, all of us as Indians the pride in being part of a nation which is truly on the march and which is being recognized globally as a leader, particularly where it leads, where it is connected to technology.
Great. It's great to see that the government has done so much for the startups and the complete ecosystem to eventually scale up. And definitely we are having year on year more number of unicorns created in the country. So definitely we are proud of that fact. So Dr. Haribhakti, as someone who has been on the boards of many companies, what are some current and upcoming challenges that you see in the boardrooms?
You know, the biggest challenge that I see is that people should see themselves as custodians of the community's resources. And I'm not seeing that happen fully. People still confuse between being majority stakeholders and owning the company. That to me is the biggest dissonance that we are facing. And it manifests itself in several situations. either the greed of somebody lets a company down, or the very high-powered ambition of somebody lets a company down, or the simple sloth of people lets companies down. Because we don't see ourselves as custodians of the community's resources. I want to work towards a future which will enable all of us, and there should be no exception to this. We should all think of ourselves as custodians of the community's resources, as custodians of the community's future, so that as board members and as people who function in our dramatically improving economy, we make the right contributions and make the correct inputs from a mindset which is a mindset of curiosity, a mindset of moonshots, a mindset of exponentials, mindset of gratitude, a mindset of responsibility. So these mindset changes are what we now all need to work towards in order to create what I would like to call a absolutely thriving, dramatically curious, high-achieving set of people.
Great. So, Dr. Haribhakti, you did mention about mindset in the conversation. And on the basis of that, let me just put across another question that I would like to ask on behalf of the community, right? So what advice would you like to give our viewers on keeping up with the boardroom requirements and skill sets?
You know, I think each one of us should see ourselves as a lifelong learner. That is the one most important aspect that we should cultivate. I feel I'm getting obsolete almost every day because everything that I read is so dramatically new. It gives me so much new insight. It makes me realize how much I don't know. And if all of us could operate from that point of view, that we simply don't know what we don't know. And everything that we engage with should become an occasion for discovery, for making sure that you can use it, integrate it, dovetail it into your current frameworks and make something more valuable and useful out of it and deliver it to the community. You know, we are all connected. It is so important to realize that every one of us is connected because we are breathing the same air. We are drinking the same water. We are consuming from the same soil. So how can anybody be any different? All life has to be respected. And all human beings need to be loved and respected. And we should feel that we are working for the entire race, rather than thinking in silos and creating these very narrow visioned, small ticket conversations that distract us from the true purpose. Today, I can tell you and your listeners that we are in an abundant world. We can have fabulous services and fabulous interactions of the kind that kings and queens of the past could not even imagine. Just go back 400 years. Think of what facilities were available to the king and queen in that time. And think of what you have today. Your cell phone alone, the internet, the artificial intelligence that you can harness, puts you at miles ahead of what was available there. So we should stop thinking of scarcity and start thinking of abundance and make sure that it happens, but it should not be grabbed and kept in small little pockets. It should be spread, because only when it is spread like as I talked about the digital public infrastructure. All infrastructure, nobody owns it. Nobody owns the road you travel on. Nobody owns the rail tracks that your railways move on. Nobody owns the air in which your airplanes fly. So what is this idea of possession? The idea has to be of sharing the abundance and creating that abundance and making sure that it keeps happening. So that not only do we create a larger pie, but we bake more and more pies. And it's available to everybody. It's only when you feel that every living person is respected, treated with dignity, and whose life is improved by you, and you are impacting it, that you will feel a sense of achievement. Otherwise, you will keep feeling that you are in a small silo doing your own little thing, and you will actually be lost.
I'm really enjoying this conversation, Dr. Haribhakti. The reason being that we also come from a place of service, and we actually believe in growing the pie and sharing the pie, and which is where the complete initiatives on corporate governance are taken by us, though. And various points that you have put across are very close to my heart as well, and that's why I intentionally wanted to get on this call, in this conversation with you. Because I love technology very much, and equally people, planet, purpose, definitely. So as you know that there has been a technological surge of late, namely IoT, AI, machine learning, big data, Web 3.0, blockchain, etc. I myself is an evangelist in AI, machine learning, and blockchain. So do you find a gap between the management and the board members in terms of their understanding of the adoption and implementation of these technology changes? If yes, then could you mention some gaps and advise on ways to fill them?
I think everybody is on a different learning curve. Let's accept that. Now, you can't speak amorphously about the whole board. You can't speak amorphously about the entire management. There would be some individuals in management who are way up there and who are ready to adopt and who are ready to make sure that they embrace all the technology, all the converging technologies that they can make to happen in their workspace. There might be one board member or two board members who want to drive this. May not be the whole board. The idea then has to be that through osmosis, all of us must share as much as we can in order that we can get to a far different point in the journey that all of us are doing together. If that notion is available in a board and management interaction, and there is respect, what should a board member walk into a boardroom with? Moral capital. What should a executive in the boardroom want? They must want to share. So they should have the sharing capital. So if you can make the moral capital and the sharing capital meet in the boardroom, then you will see new value getting created. And it is not any individual's responsibility, it is the collective responsibility of what we define as all people in management to get up on that learning curve. Because if you're not there, then you will get left behind in terms of at least the role of participation. And the important thing that I always try to push for is everybody should participate. Because there are nuances in people's mind. There are already inside you so much that it just takes a spark of a conversation, a word, a sentence said here or an idea thrown there, which will spark it. And then a whole lot of new conversations emerge. I keep telling the young people that I mentor that the greatest sign of you being successful is if you can sit next to a stranger in an airplane and can actually get a fantastic conversation going, such that you don't want to leave the airplane when your destination arrives. To me, that is a true test of a good conversation.
Awesome. This is an ultimate, learning that I have gained today. In fact, I am also learning during this conversation, right? And what I've understood is that at every stage, you will have to upgrade yourself and upskill yourself, and learning is something which is continuous throughout your life. So, Dr. Haribhakti, we are building this community of industry magnets for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having better ESG and corporate governance in the country. What are your thoughts about this initiative?
It is a fantastic initiative, Zishan. It is only through this interaction, this meeting informally, sharing in a space where you feel comfortable. You're not worried about who is watching or who is recording or who is going to misuse what you say. You are just yourself. You come in, it's an open space, it's a safe space. That's the important thing. Create safe spaces. Every boardroom should be a safe space. Every meeting should be a safe space. Every interaction should be a safe space. If you can construct that, then you will get people sharing the deepest thoughts and deepest emotions. And then you will start seeing the value of that human interaction. And that is why we enjoy it so much. I mean, I enjoy a conversation like this, which is virtual also. But I'm saying, if we were together in the same room, there would be a different sort of engagement and a different sort of enjoyment. So all of that we need to bring together through the wonderful work that your organization is doing and many others are doing. Chambers of Commerce and all of them are at it, creating all these forums, some private organizations, some firms, some universities. There's so much of this happening. And it's wonderful to see how engaged India is in bringing everybody up to speed on ESG.
Great. So though we are meeting virtually, definitely it gives me an opportunity to also meet you in person and have those kinds of conversations later as well. Great. So it was a fantastic conversation with you, Dr. Haribhakti, and I am confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you very much for joining us today. Wish you the best for your endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much, Dr. Haribhakti, again.
Pleasure to talk to you, Zishan. Keep doing the great work you're doing.
Thank you very much.